Last week, we took a look at a machine from Seattle Coffee Gear's new in-house brand, Diletta. If you haven't already watched the review on the Mio, I recommend you do, as it's a pretty intriguing machine, and in that video I also give an overview of what exactly this new Diletta brand is. Today, we'll be looking at the second machine in the Diletta lineup, this mean and stylish looking heat exchanger named the Bello. On paper, it's almost a one-to-one competitor with the Rocket Appartamento, but how does it actually stack up as a daily driver? Let's find out. Now, before we get going, I do have to mention that Seattle Coffee Gear did send me this machine for review. However, as always, that will have zero impact on the opinions expressed in this video or the contents of this video. If you want to check out the Bello, I will of course have it linked down in the description below. Starting off with the design, Diletta are once again offering 3 finishes, all at the same price point: stainless steel, powder-coated white, and powder-coated black. Everyone who I have shown this machine to has thought that it looks the absolute business in this matte black color, and I have to say I completely agree. The contrast between the polished metal of the E61 group head against a black background is just a super cool look, and the drip tray also has this kind of unique modern pattern to it. Of course, you could go more traditional with a polished metal case. However, I thought that these matte finishes were just too good to pass up. I really like that this doesn't have to be all business all the time, as that was also what kind of drew me to the Rocket Appartamento in the first place. Brands are starting to notice that you don't have to take yourselves so seriously, you can mix in a little bit of personality, and I really like that. Moving on to the actual build quality, the Bello is securely in line with other entry-level E61 machines. It's well put together, and thanks to the standardized E61 group head, you get the same rock-solid locking-in feeling as you would on any E61 machine, even those costing 2 or 3 times as much. There are some areas where the feel is a little bit cheaper than the higher priced machines I've used in the past, the most notable being the knob on the brew lever itself, the actuator in behind it, the slightly rough metal rails under the drip tray, and the look of these plastic stoppers within the pressure gauge. However, those are all quite nitpicky observations. Overall, it is a very well put together machine, and you still get that really enjoyable mechanical, tactile brewing experience like I mentioned in the full Appartamento review. It really is a nice thing to interact with each and every morning. Quickly running through the features, the Bello is 11 inches wide, 14.5 inches tall, and 17.75 inches deep. It comes with both single and double spouted 58mm portafilters, and just like the Mio, comes with a solid feeling wooden tamper. The heating configuration is a traditional heat exchanger using a 1.8 liter stainless steel boiler. And on the front, there is the typical hot water arm and the steam arm, which is a no burn steam arm, an absolute must-have feature. There is a low water indicator. The water reservoir itself is impressively large at 3 liters, and it is accessible through this hinged lid, which, while we're on the topic of, leads us nicely into the user experience. The lid on the water reservoir does feel more premium than simply having a detachable lid. However, I do worry about people with low overhead cabinets. Because it hinges at the back, that means that the machine has to be slid completely clear of any overhead obstructions to fill. If your cabinets are tall, completely ignore this. It is a very nice feature. The water reservoir is also a nice feature. Coming in at 3 liters, that is about a half liter to a full liter larger than most other machines in this size range. It really is impressive, and it leads to far less refilling, which is good because E61 machines tend to run through a little bit more water. The machine heats up in around 15 minutes, about par for the course for a heat exchanger, and like other E61s, you're going to want to let it idle even longer to allow all the temperatures to fully normalize. Using the machine day to day is very nice, and I especially like the interesting dual pressure gauge on this machine. 1/2 for boiler pressure and 1/2 for the pump pressure. Pretty cool looking and very informative when making drinks. Just like on the Mio, I also noticed that this vibration pump is a little bit quieter than other vibration pumps I have previously used. They say that it is mounted on rubber mounts to make it quieter. Whatever they're doing, it has actually worked. Other than that, it's just a smooth, enjoyable E61 experience. So let's move on to the actual espresso quality. The bellow comes from the factory running at 9 bars, which is very nice because it means that you don't have to strip off any panels and adjust the OPV right when you get it. You can start using it right away. So thank you to Diletta for doing this properly. Other than that, it is a heat exchanger and it is not PID controlled, which means that you will have to do some temperature surfing to get the temperatures consistent. A 10-second purge before brewing goes a long way to a more consistent performance. Once you get a routine down, it is a very good performer. You can make great espresso on this machine, and I do really like that they included a single spout portafilter. Even if you're making a double shot, this is a convenient option that I don't think many people take advantage of. On the Mio, we saw some pretty tight cup clearances. However, on the Bello, I am happy to say that it is better, coming in at 3.5 inches. This leaves you enough room to fit a scale and a shot glass comfortably. Moving on to steaming performance, the Bello uses a 2-hole steam tip, and as previously mentioned, a no-burn steam arm, which are both nice to have and are things that I expect to see in a machine of this price range. Steam flow is of course variable through the steam knob, and the knobs themselves feel sturdy and high quality with really good grip from the 5-pointed shape. For home use, I maybe would have preferred something a little bit less commercial looking. However, I must admit that with wet hands, the grip on these is really good. Steaming power was strong and a very clear step up over entry-level machines, and the ability to brew and steam simultaneously will certainly speed up your workflow even further. Compared to the Rocket, the steaming experience and speed on the Bello was essentially indistinguishable. So, do I recommend the Bello, and do I recommend it over the Rocket Appartamento? Based purely on looks alone, I think that the Bello gives the Rocket a run for its money, and might even beat it from a purely aesthetic standpoint. Of course, this will come down completely to personal preferences. In terms of build quality, the Bello is a solid E61 machine, with good components and an enjoyable user experience. There are some areas where it lags slightly behind the Rocket, such as the drip tray finishing and the plastic on the lever, but it also beats it in other areas, like the metal cup rail. If you're looking at build quality alone, I'd say that the Rocket is ahead, but only by a minuscule margin. Overall, the Bello is a good-looking, good performing, and well-priced entry-level E61 machine. If you've always been eyeballing a Rocket Appartamento but found it just a little bit overpriced for what it offers, then the Bello might just be the machine that you've been waiting for. If you want to check it out, once again, I will have it linked down in the description below. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and even consider subscribing if you want to see some more like it in the future. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.